Matrix and welcome to Matrix. My name is Looney and I'll be assisting you to get all of your questions through to us. Today we're focusing on your exam guide for Maths Lit Paper 2. All you need to do is hit us up on our social media platforms, search for Matrix as well as our WhatsApp line. As always guys, we've got a fun competition going on for you, so do stay tuned to get all of those details. Today with me are Keta and Nicolene, our sign language interpreters, as well as our awesome teacher. Thank you so much and over to you.
Thanks, Looney. Welcome back, Matrix. Today I'm here, very happy to be here with you to help you with exam guide for Paper 2 Mathematical Literacy. So now let's see what's in the paper. So our paper, what it looks like, we need a pen for that. What our paper looks like, we've got 150 marks in 3 hours or 180 minutes. Now what I told you in paper 1, I'm going to repeat now. It's important that we know how many marks we actually need to know to work with per minute, or how many minutes per mark. And I'm going to do this as a ratio. So I've written out my 150 marks and 180 minutes, and I'm now going to calculate how many minutes I need per mark. So I'm going to take my 180 and I'm going to multiply it by my second number over my first. Or effectively, I'm taking my 180 minutes and dividing it by 100. So I'm taking my 180 minutes and dividing it by 150 marks. And then I can see that I get 1.2. Now, what's important about this is we now know that we've got 1.2 minutes per mark. So if your first question is out of 30 marks, you can then take this answer and multiply it by 30 and know that you need to have 36 minutes to complete that question in. So it's important to watch your time so that you don't run out of time and you don't leave anything out. The paper usually consists of 4 questions. You need to answer every single one of these questions. What I recommend is that you actually take the questions that you like and the stuff that you enjoy and do those first, because then you'll get confidence and you'll know I've got this, and then you can do the ones that you like less later. So let's carry on. There are instructions and information sheets. It's really, 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 really crucial that you read and follow every instruction. They tell you to start each question on a new page. So that also helps if you're starting with question 3, because that's what you love doing. Start that on the first page, and because you're starting on a new page, your examiners and the markers will know where to find it. So the next question you'll start on the next page. You can do them in any order. But important to number your answers to the questions exactly as they are in the question paper. You know, you don't want to end up with the examiner having to look for your answers and trying to decipher what question you were trying to answer. If you can make their life as easy as possible, they will be happy and hopefully award you more marks. Okay, show all your calculations. If you type it on your calculator, I want you to write it in your answer book. Very important, show all calculations. And actually, while I'm on that topic of showing all calculations, don't forget to always add a unit. Maths Lit has a context. We're not just dealing with random numbers, so every answer should have a unit. Round off your final answer in the context given. So that's important as well. So you're going to look at the context. So for example, if you're dealing with money, you're going to round to 2 decimal places. If we're dealing with water that I can fill into a bucket, I might be rounding to liters, and in that case I'm probably going to round down because I don't want the water to overflow. So it's important that you look at the context. Right, there are lots of additional documents that you've been given. You will be given an addendum. So there may be, and there might not be, so this is not a guaranteed, but there may be annexures for certain questions, and they'll label the annexures in a very systematic way, and the question will say to you, refer to Annexure A or Appendix A. These often contain tables or plans or maps or any information that adds to the question, and you need to refer to this annexure in order to answer the question. you might have an answer sheet. You've got to make sure that you write your exam number and your center number on the answer sheet. Please don't forget that. We don't want to sit with an answer sheet and we don't know who it belongs to. You know, sometimes things happen in transport and your question paper might end up one place and your answer sheet somewhere else. We need to ensure that we can guarantee it's yours. So don't forget your numbers. And your answer sheet could actually, what could it entail? It could be a grid for a graph where you need to draw the graph on the answer sheet. It could be a table that you need to complete. So anything that's additional. In paper 2, the questions do not focus on a specific topic. Remember in paper 1, we had very specific topics. We had a finance, we had measurement. Paper 2, everything's kind of mixed together. So you won't have a specific topic. You might have 1, 2, maybe even 3 topics in one question. You're going to need to apply your knowledge and skills to the given context. So the context will be more important, and within that context, they will deal with different topics that we've learned about. What's important that you need to know? Make sure that you can analyze personal income tax tables. Okay? The personal income tax tables, and I'm going to do an example with you later, are really something that's crucial that you understand. And in actual fact, a lot of people out there don't understand personal income tax, but I know that you Maths Lit students can do this. Okay? We need to be able to interpret data and it's presented to us in a different format. I don't want you to panic if you see something that you haven't seen before, because if you just look at it systematically, go through the data that you've been given, chances are you will be able to interpret it. So you can practice that. We need to make sure that you have summary notes, and these must include a list of important terms. The Mind the Gap study guide has got all the important terms, so make sure that you can actually understand them. You need to remember the steps that you follow for different calculations. So that's important. And then you're going to use your calculator to perform different types of calculations. And like I said to you, you might see something that you haven't seen before. That's the nature of this paper 2 question, but I know that you have been prepared well enough to tackle, even if it's something that you haven't done, just by practicing your calculator work. So we need to practice identifying information from different types of sources. So it's important that you take as many different sources as you can and you practice. So you need a text-based information. So every question that you have is going to present the context to you. So there's going to be a paragraph at the beginning of the question that tells you what the question is all about. It's important that you can read that, read it carefully, and it's important that you can extract any information that you know. Sometimes it's just there to actually give you the context of the question, but sometimes there is some mathematical information that you need to extract from that text. The next thing that we have is tables. You need to read these tables really carefully. In fact, I suggest you analyze the table before you go on and read the questions. And in your mind, you might be thinking, actually, I know what kind of questions they could ask me based on this table. And then when you read the questions, you'll probably find that the questions are very similar to what you thought about. So it's important to understand the tables. Your diagrams that they give you, you need to make sure that you can understand what's been given. I sometimes redraw a diagram because it actually makes it easier when it's in my handwriting. And what's important with diagrams is to look out for this word called scale, because they might give you a scale diagram, which means that it's now changed from just a plain diagram that you've got to something that you're going to deal with very similar to you would deal with maps. Interpreting maps and plans, okay? It's important that you go through these, as many as you can. You know, we all very much used to Google Maps, okay? And if you want directions, you just type it into your phone and it takes you there. What I want you to actually do is go and look at the map and see where it takes you, what it's doing, be able to give directions. Your plans as well. Go look at your Toy plans, Lego plans are really great plans to look at. You know, if you need to build something, so look at different plans. And finally, different graphs that you need to practice with. So be able to use a line graph or a bar graph, a histogram, pie chart. All these different graphs are important that you practice using. Now, where you're going to get this practice from? You can use your textbooks. You can use the study guides that you've been given. The study guides are really good, and practice as much as you can. So I think on that note, I'm going to hand you back to Looney, and we'll take a break.
Guys, let's take a quick break and we'll see you straight after this.